I saw something on CNN about how to make your habits last, and so I'll recommend you to CNN, but I'm not going to use exactly their list. I'm going to modify it a little bit, and it goes like this. So here are some ways to lock in habits. One way, and so inspired by CNN, so go to CNN.com if you want to see their take on it. One way is to put the new habit associated with an existing habit. So the way that one-a-day vitamins were marketed is as one a day. And the one a day told you, oh, I'll do it when I brush my teeth. So if you pair your one-a-day vitamin, and the reason it's one a day is just for marketing. There's no reason that vitamins should be one a day versus smaller doses throughout the day or any other dose. It's purely marketing and not science that it's once a day. That's well understood, by the way. I'm not making that up. But by pairing it with something you're definitely going to do every day, which is brush your teeth, you pretty much guarantee that you're going to take your one-a-day vitamin. But there are other ways to do it. You can pair other habits. For example, the CNN example was, well, actually, this is a second example. You can pair something pleasurable with the thing that you want to make a habit. So their example was to make it a habit to listen to an audiobook while you exercise. So you're pairing a thing you enjoy anyway with the thing you want to make your habit, and so you pair them. Good technique. So that's slightly different than just pairing habits where one habit exists. This would be a second thing. Another one is to get a partner who's in on it with you to keep you on track. Let's say you're both trying to lose weight, you're both trying to walk every day, whatever it is. If you've got one other person who's going to keep you honest, that can help, all right? Because maybe they can talk you into walking the day you don't, you can talk them into it, etc. Here's another one: create an incentive, reward, or penalty for each time you do or don't do the habit. Now, I've talked about this I love to be tired after working out and have a nice protein shake that's delicious while looking at what happened on Twitter on my phone. That little moment where you've worked out and you're just enjoying your beverage and the protein feels like it's helping you and you're just thinking of whatever you want to think is my reward. So I would put that after exercise. But there's another way to do it, which is to penalize yourself. To penalize yourself. So the CNN example was that you'd have your spouse would donate to a small amount of money to a charity that you don't like every time you didn't do your habit. So it'd be like a little penalty, but not really a penalty for not doing your thing. Here's how I did this with myself. I could never remember to put on my sunscreen, at least on my face, the exposed parts, before I went out for the day, if it's just a regular day. I would always remember my sunscreen if I were going swimming or I'm going to be outside all day. But I couldn't get the habit of putting on sunscreen just every day, in California especially. And so here's what I lit on. I decided to punish myself every time I forgot. And the punishment would be, I'd be sitting in my car and I'm ready to go wherever it is I want to go. And if I realized then that I didn't have my sunscreen on, I would have to get out of the car, put everything down like I'd never been in the car, take off my jacket, walk upstairs, put on the sunscreen, and then redo it. Now, do you know how annoying that is? If you're in the car and you're ready to start it and you want to go somewhere, you hate that. You hate that you've got to redo everything and just start again. And so that was my punishment. Do you know how many times I had to do that to myself? I don't know the exact number, but if I had to guess over the summer, and let's say since the last 6 months I've been trying it, probably 40 times. Think about that. 40 times. I'm ready to go. And I put it all down and I walked upstairs. As a result of punishing myself regularly for 6 months, I'm much closer to remembering it every time now. I'm not there yet, but that's my technique. If you're trying to build a habit and keep it, you'll see some people give you this advice, that you should have cheat days. If you, let's say you're on a diet and you'll have, okay, every 2 weeks or whatever is your schedule, I'll have a cheat day. I think that's the worst advice I've ever heard. It does make sense to allow yourself to have days when it doesn't work. In other words, if you say to yourself, I'm going to try to exercise 7 days a week, but I'm also living in the real world and sometimes things come up. That's okay. That's just living in the real world. But the moment you allow yourself that there's a cheat day, let's take food as the best example. I think that having a cheat day for food is the number one worst way to diet. Literally, there would be nothing less effective than having a cheat day. And the reason is this, that if you're dieting successfully, you're not just eating less or eating healthier or exercising more, those are all good, but you're also getting rid of your cravings. If you lose 20 pounds, but you don't lose your cravings, did you really lose 20 pounds? Because they're coming back. Right? So if you think about weight loss as weight, you've already lost. Right? You might as well not even bother. Because if you think what you're trying to do is lose weight, you'll never succeed. If you're trying to lose your cravings, well, then your chances are very good. So I teach you in my book how to fail at almost everything and still win big, that is behind this whiteboard. I teach you to work on your cravings, and then the weight loss works on itself. And an example of that would be, I used to be addicted to Snickers candy bars. Like I would almost drool when I woke up in the morning. I couldn't wait to get my first one. And eventually it would progress to like, I'd be eating 4 of the big size Snickers a day. And I'd be like, every bite of it would actually make me feel alive. And I'd be like, ooh. I mean, I would actually shudder with craving for this particular food. But the technique I would use is I'd say, how about I could eat anything I want except that? So every time I wanted that, I would eat something else that I also liked, and I wouldn't limit myself to the other stuff. And then, if I didn't eat that Snickers I found out it was about 8 weeks. So you might differ a little bit. But after 8 weeks of not eating it, it didn't even taste good. So right now, if I put one in my mouth, I'd be like, I don't know why I like these in the first place. Now, my natural biological, preferences didn't change at all in 8 weeks. What changed is my addiction. I had an addiction to this certain fat, sugar, salt combination. And by the way, do you know that's how they addict you? There's a book called, I may have the words reversed, but it's like fat, sugar, salt, or those words might be in different order. And it teaches you how the scientists found out that if you get the right combination of those 3 materials, it's addictive. Like it actually activates the addiction part of your brain. So when I was eating the Snickers, I thought I was overeating in the old days. But when I got smarter, I realized I wasn't overeating. I was addicted to certain foods that had a bad outcome for me. So I would break each addiction individually, get rid of the craving, and then it's easy. Once the cravings are gone, you don't even think about it. It's just what you eat. So at this point, I can eat a yam with some soy sauce on it after cooking it, getting it nice and soft. And just eating a yam with some pepper and soy sauce is like a delightful meal. But only because I trained myself to get rid of the addiction food, which I don't even miss. Now, if you told me how much do you miss your favorite food, I'd say 0. 0. There's not even 1% of me that wants to eat that. It's not like giving up cigarettes, as I understand it. I've never given up cigarettes. I don't smoke. But what I hear is that even if you give up the cigarettes and you're successful, you sort of always crave it. But you can actually get rid of a craving for certain foods. It's just gone. Never comes back.